Howdy folks, today we were playing Obliterator Fight in Phyrexia. All will be one standard built around Phyrexian Obliterator, and if we use Bushwhack to fight Phyrexian Obliterator with any other creature, our opponents can be sacrificing permanents. Making a special guest appearance also with this deck is Glissa Sunslayer, another new card from Phyrexia. All will be one, which is a house, which is the main reason, along with Bushwhack, that we are Golgari instead of mono black. So let's see how this mono black turned Golgari deck does on the ladder. Okay, opponents on the play, we're on the draw. I have a couple too many of these proving grounds, but that's all right. Opponents on mono blue potentially. They have a consider. What do they have? They do. Okay. All right, so we're hoping to get this underdog down, and ideally, honestly, I feel like our best card against this style of deck is Liliana, so hopefully we can get there. You're gonna impulse, not gonna counter, makes sense. A Graveyard Trespasser isn't bad either. This way we can get some damage in. Storm Chaser Drink, it's not mono blue, okay. Interesting. Yep, we're gonna just go in and attack here. It would be a pretty risky block for our opponent. Are you kidding me? They're gonna block and shore up? There's no way. That is crazy to me that they would actually take that. Because we could have had any removal spell there to really break up what they had going on, and they just felt like we didn't have it, and I guess we didn't, but sheesh, that was a hard read by our opponent. We were bluffing. I mean, we traded an underdog for a safekeeping, which is not the worst thing in the world anyway, but I mean, wow. And what else do they have here? Curiosity, well, they have to pay the full effect for it. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and attack with the Trespasser. Get rid of the Curiosity, probably. Man, our opponent is doing whatever they want with this Storm Chaser Drake. They're gonna block? I mean, I guess that's something you can do. Guess we want to keep up this Invoke Despair next turn, and our opponent was willing to throw a Storm Chaser Drake in front of our Trespasser before, so I guess we'll play another one. See what else they have. Another Drake. Must just be Drake Flush or something. All right, well. Gonna attack again, see if our opponent once again wants to block. I have no clue what's going on over there. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure what our opponent's up to over there. We just played some Graveyard Trespassers and attacked, and that was it. So GG's, I guess. Alrighty, Ian, here with the deck tech for this deck. I think I'm gonna make a few changes before I go to the deck tech. I think the Evolve Sleeper is a little slow, and similar story with the Bank Buster. If you're gonna be playing all these monocolored aggro decks, I think you're gonna want some ways to fight them early. So I think I'm gonna play some Cut Down in this list. Go ahead and add Cut Down here. Add a few of those bad boys, and then. Okay, so we cut the Evolved Sleepers, added some Cut Down in, and then added some Sheldred and either did some trimming. And I like this look of the deck better. You really the Obliterator combo is going to be good against most style decks, but you need to live long enough to pull it off, and so that's why we added the Cut Down. And then the Sheldred would also help us gain some life It's also really good with the Bushwhack because of Death Touch, you can fight anything. So it's pretty nice from that perspective as well. Same with Glissa. So now we have a lot of creatures here that are really good at fighting. Basically, the plan of this deck is to get a Phyrexian Obliterator down. Whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifice that many permanents. We're going to make it fight creatures with the Bushwhack, and we'll have to sacrifice a bunch of permanents, which will be hopefully backbreaking enough where it ends the game for them. We also have Glissa's Sunslayer, which just a really good Golgari card, which if if it deals combat damage to a player, you can draw a card and lose. We lose one life, but we draw a card. We can destroy an enchantment, or we can move up to 3 counters from target permanent. So it's really good at planeswalkers and things like that nature. And yeah, overall, just standard mono black deck, and add just a few new cards to see if it improves the mono black deck. But yeah, let's see how it does on the ladder. All right, we're going first. Don't have much going until turn 3, but we'll see if we can ride that. On Golgari, our opponent plays a creature. Liliana will be looking a lot better. See what they have an underdog. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll cast this Liliana here. Might be the mirror match.
Those who get in my way tend.
Next turn we can try to get a Shelly down.
Personal space.
Swamp from our opponent. So with the Liliana we can plus and get rid of the second Glissa. Or we can plus and get rid of cut down maybe. It's not looking as good.
Drop it.
See our opponent discards. An Obliterator, okay. So they're probably looking to obliterate next turn. We can just make them sacrifice with a Liliana, so they probably have to have some way to get rid of the Liliana. They have a Tear Asunder, sure.
Whatever.
Gives us a turn to attack this Glissa. Draw a card and lose 1 life. Do a Misery Shadow. And we don't have the right amount of mana to play the Obliterator, so we're gonna go ahead and just play the Sheldred. Obliterator is like the one card we only have the 1 force in the deck that can't cast the Obliterator. It's a little unfortunate, but all right, we're gonna attack so we can draw a card and see if we can hit a land drop here. We did hit a land drop. That's pretty good. Yeah, play an Obliterator. Our opponent has more removal. They didn't have removal for the Glissa, so they might not have removal for the Obliterator. We have an Invoke Despair to get them if they have anything, and yeah. GG's. All right, opponent goes first, but looks like a hand we can keep. Just need a green land eventually. There's our green land. Asking you shall receive. See what our opponent has here in terms of things to play. Tenacious Underdog. Sure, we'll go to our turn. Wastes and pass. What else our opponent could play? Might just be cutting down. I think we're gonna do that. Our opponent plays another creature. We'll gladly Liliana this turn. They don't, so I think that means it's time for a Glissa. We have 2 of them. Kind of gonna imagine this Glissa is gonna die at the end of their opponent's turn, just like, their dog died on their turn. Give us an opportunity to play another Glissa next turn, though. Underdog, yep, coming in with it. See what we draw here. Proving Ground, that's not bad. That means we'll just play another Glissa. We have an Obliterator plus Bushwhack for next turn if they play a creature. But isn't their own Obliterator. Vraska. Okay. We draw a land, we can invoke Despair. Well, we do have the treasure anyway, so actually I think we just gonna invoke Despair anyway. Make them sacrifice the Vraska. Get a swamp down and pass. If they decide to play a creature, it's Obliterator time. Sheldred, yep. Losing some life, but we're gonna see if our opponent has a removal spell here. Gonna pay the green. You don't have a removal spell, opponent? I'm sorry that you're gonna lose all your permanents. Sorry about that, opponent. Alright, Sheldred time. Play a Misery Shadow. Go ahead and pass the turn. Opponent is low on lands. Or maybe that's all they have in their hand. I don't know. Cut down, sure. Yeah, cut down is the card that makes sense for them to have in their hands. Choose Foundry and then their own Shelly. Okay. We have our own Liliana though for our opponents. Probably not what they want to see. Sacrifice.
One of your friends has
Get him with a Shelly. Put the hurt on him and now have an Obliterator down. You can see why the green-black version has an advantage over the straight-up mono-black version. I mean, you have the ability for Phyrexian Obliterator to fight and make them sacrifice 4 lands, and we did just that, and it ended the game. All right, we're going first. Typical mono-black hands. Lead on this Glade, probably. So our opponent decides to do Azrael. They have a nice little creature here. Leads me to believe they're on some black sort of deck. They have extra life, 20/20 sleeves. Not sure what that is. Death Cap Glade. Then we get the Misery Shadow with the underdog next turn, depending on what our opponent plays. So, Island. Probably makes me want to go with the underdog more. They could Fading Hope it or something, but I mean, it's not exactly where you want to be for the mono blue deck. They don't have a way to counter it, so I'm not really sure what they're thinking about. Okay. No Consider or anything. Mirex. Play a control deck? See if we can get our damage in. Just like a... It's gotta be a control deck of some sort. Right? Augury. Proliferate. Sure. Nothing for them to proliferate, though. What, they gotta show me another color. Okay, white. Makes a lot more sense. I was pretty confused about what was going on. Okay, attacking our opponent. I think we're pretty happy to pump this Shadow twice. Get in some damage. I think we're gonna play the Shadow. Thirst for Discovery. Okay, do they have Depopulates? The question I'm wondering. Carded 2 lands, but not a basic land. Can they untap them to depopulate? They can. Okay. We have a Sheltered backup. That's why we played it like that. Or we could just underdog here. Could Obliterator as well. I like Sheltered though. Let's go ahead and pass the turn like it is. Opponent's taking some damage. Sheltered kind of makes your opponent potentially want to Wrath again. Trigger on the stack. They should have done whatever they're going to do to potentially kill it before the trigger was on the stack. Interesting that they don't have Wandering Emperor up, and yeah, Sheltered caused them to concede. GG's. Opponent goes first, and we have the combo in hand and some other things, so we'll keep this. Okay, we can Jungle Hollow next turn and Liliana on turn 3, but that's not exactly where you want to be. We'll go behind the 8 ball here. They have a second creature here. We'll be feeling it a little bit. See what they have. Mardu. Okay. Another Harvester. Sure. We do have a cut down, but we can use a cut down later. I think we just want to use this Liliana as a removal spell and to gain some life, assuming our opponent attacks the Liliana.
I've come for answers.
If we were on the play, we'd be doing great with the cut down and all that, but you know, it's not how it always goes. Sometimes you have to play in the draw. Someone has to. Yeah, coming in Liliana, that's fine.
I'll be back with friends.
What do they got? Missionary to get back Harvester. Okay, that's pretty good against what the Trespass we could have had. Yeah, we're gonna search for a basic land. Swamp. I'm gonna play the Trespasser. So mint 0. Be ready to block. Next turn, we can cut down and whatnot. I think we had to bushwhack there instead of just hoping we draw lands to the bushwhack obliterator combo, which hopefully we pull off, but you never know if we will. Now we have some blockers, a blocker at least. Don't think we want to block. We're probably going to kill one of the harvesters and we can gain life back with it. A braid, sure, costs you a card though. Discarded the harvester again, okay. Probably means they have another missionary. Yeah. Guess we'll run back this Liliana. I'm gonna sacrifice another creature.
This fight finished before brunch.
I think we'll go ahead and pass the turn. They try to attack Liliana, we'll cut down the missionary. Just want to prevent any, like an underdog or something from being blitzed if we don't do it this way. What else could they have? Harvester, okay. Harvester's getting good over there still. And the Spirited Companion, sure. So with the Harvester, they're going to be able to kill any creature we play. With -X, so I guess we'd rather it be this Sheldred. And do we want a plus with the Liliana? I suppose so. That way, they use the Harvester to kill our Sheldred. They can't kill the Liliana with the Spirited Companion. They have to use the Destroy Evil, yep. Now they can kill the Liliana. We're trying to run our opponent out of removal here. We're going to play another Sheldred. If we ever have a bushwhack, we'll be feeling good about where we're at. We'll be able to sack a lot of blood, though. Glade, okay. Another Shelly coming down. Glade, and then pass. We really want our opponent to have to get to a point where they feel like they have to Harvester or Shelly, and that way we get an Obliterator on the board that's not going to be hit by a removal spell, we hope. They have a Vraska or something here, it's probably GG's, but Velasal Core, we can deal with that. Gonna make a sacrifice. And this Obliterator still is gonna get clapped, probably. But we can block with this shadow this turn. Go ahead and pass. Make our opponent use another card on our shadow. Oh my gosh. Okay. We're just gonna activate the ability. I mean, no harm, no foul here. Yes, right. We got to this point which we wanted to get to, where our opponent had to use their removal spells on things that weren't our Obliterator. Trespasser better? Probably is better. Get the Harvester out of their graveyard. You can start blooding some stuff away for sure. Spirited Companion, not bad. Nice thing about the Trespasser is we'll happily block whatever this is. Free block here. Okay, we're gonna lose a life, draw a card. Takenuma, huh? Can we Takenuma Sheldred back? We'll have 2 mana after we Takenuma. Sheldred would be really good here. Can Takenuma back a Misery Shadow. Okay, we'll attack with a Trespasser. Get the Harvester out of the graveyard again. Gain some life. They are going to block, which is nice for us. Play an Obliterator. Pass the turn. Probably dead here to the little tiny triggers and cuts and stuff. Opponent has drawn phenomenally well. GG's. Okay. And we're back, and we kept a good hand here, and we have cut down and see what our opponent has. They're on mono red, presumably. We have this cut down. We are on the draw, but if they have like a bloodthirsty adversary or something we can cut down, we'll be feeling a lot better about that. Next turn we can play an underdog. They scryed something to the top. Maybe it was a land. See what they play. Electrostatic infantry. Yes, we will kill that. And I think we'll play the underdog. Go ahead and pass, and then get the trespasser down and start trying to gain some life. Or we can get the Glissa if we're really feeling that. Nice thing about the underdog, though, is it can trade with the Reckless Stormseeker. Exile the underdog, that's fine. Not really a care in the world from us for that. I think we're going to get this trespasser down and start eating away their Obliterator and their graveyard in general, just in case they have an adversary. What do they have here? Raiju will block a Raiju. Adversary they do have, but can't pay, so we'll block. And I don't really want to pay any life right now, so I am going to play this Misery Shadow. Pass the turn. We have the ability to make this a 3/3, so they have 2 3/3s they need to kill. Don't want to get in with the adversary. Another adversary, which does have the ability to get something from the graveyard. Okay. Probably going to get an Obliterating Bolt. They're going to play with fire. Wouldn't make any sense. The Obliterating Bolt and go on their Trespasser. They're going to discard a card, though, and we're going to be in major business when that happens. What do they discard? Land, maybe? Electric Revelation. Discard a card to draw 2 cards as flashback, which they can cast. Okay. So they attack with both, or just the 3/3? They do attack with both, so we're going to get a free block in this adversary. We draw a land. I think we want to be... Could be mana efficient, or we could just play an Obliterator. I think we're just going to play an Obliterator. Try to turn the game around on our opponent. Ooh, they didn't even want to discard that with the Electric Revelation. Opponent's probably seen the Phyrexian Obliterator one too many times, and they tap out with a GG. Alrighty, our opponent's going first, and we will keep this hand. Opponent hits us with the hello, and they have a Dark Slick Shores, which means I think we'll have time to get this tap land down on the first turn. I don't think we'll be cutting something down. Oh, it could be Esper Legends now. Skrell Scythe, okay. It's just underdog. We could be feeling some poison damage by the end of this. Opponent's on Esper or something. Sea Chrome Coast and Dark Slick Shores are so nice for the Esper deck, though. I mean, oh, look at this mana base. Oh, our opponent is doing it. Yes. Exiles our creature. Okay. And I think that means we'll just get this Glissa down. We can destroy an enchantment, so our opponent's really going to be interested in killing this Glissa. If they have the ability to. But if they don't, it's super high upside for us. A Drown and Ichor, where they get to proliferate. They should have attacked first, so they proliferate the Infect on us, the poison counter. But that's okay, we'll take that. And do we Trespasser plus Cutdown or Obliterator? I'm gonna just play this Obliterator and see if our opponent has any way to deal with it. Another must-kill threat. Okay. We'll take the damage and make you sacrifice a permanent. No problem there. What are you gonna sacrifice? A dark? So can I sacrifice a land? Interesting. Well, one Obliterator wasn't good enough. How about... Yep. So our opponent thinks about this. Opponent's taking some damage. If we just attack them for 10 next turn, they're going to take probably lethal damage from the Skrelv's Hive. They don't have enough for a White Sun's Twilight right now for 5. Only do it for 3. So they'd have to be running White Sun's Twilight and like a Depopulate. It does seem like a White Sun's Twilight deck to me, but we will keep blocking all day. Probably are doing this so that they get 3 poison counters on us so they can start drawing more effectively. Okay, so that indicates they might have a Wrath they're drawing to. Not sure. We're just gonna get up and attack here with both. Can't block, so what do they have here? Wandering Emperor? Just a standard removal spell? An Odawara. Sure. Odawara. What are we gonna do about that? Probably just play another Obliterator again. Opponent's losing some more life. Now, any attack from Obliterator is lethal. Opponent, I would have to imagine they're trying to get to a place where they can White Sun's Twilight next turn. So we're trying to race against that, and they must not have had a way to prevent dying from the Obliterator again. They took a lot of damage from their own Skrelv's Hives, and the Obliterators were able to help us get through just enough, so we'll take it. GG's. Alrighty, we're back with Obliterator Fight, and the deck started off not so hot before we edited the deck list to include some cut downs and some Sheldreds. I just think it's hard. Evolved Sleeper's a hard card to play right now. It gives you value in the late game, but against mono red, I mean, it's a 1-mana 1/1. I mean, it doesn't do a whole lot. So cut down is a lot better there. Just find out. In this format, I can't believe I'm leaning into cut down more than just creatures in general. But that's where we're going. Phyrexian Obliterator is probably one of the main reasons to play this deck. Invoke Despair and Sheldred both do a lot of damage too, but this format is fast, and they can honestly both be a little slow for the format, but they're great cards in that they do provide some help in those matchups. Sheldred can help stabilize with a big body, but if they have ways to get around it with like lightning strikes and stuff, you can be in trouble. Obliterator is nice insofar as you can play an Obliterator and then fight target creature opponent controls, and you have a chance to just get rid of all their lands, and that's all she wrote for that. Maybe I'll take it back. Maybe Sheldred and Phyrexian Obliterator are both equally important to the aggro matchup. They're both good. They're both good in different spots. Graveyard Trespasser is good early. Glist is a great addition. I think it adds a huge amount of power to your 3-drop slot, and so now it kind of feels like your 3, 4, and 5-drop slot is really good. I mean, any of those cards resolving you feel really good about, to be honest. And Underdog and Misery Shadow mostly are there to be attacking your opponent. It would be interesting to see if there's more defensive options you could employ at that at that mana. I'm hesitant to think there are. But a lot of the time, I felt like, we're casting an Underdog and hoping to block, and then, it gets shot down by Play with Fire or what have you there. So it's probably not the case that there's too much you can do there, but maybe you should be ramping there in that spot. I'm not really sure. I don't think that's a great strategy either. I think maybe you're just kind of making the best of a sort of weak situation here in terms of overall meta. In a vacuum, I think Underdog and Shadow are solid cards, but the meta being really fast, those cards are better when you're on the front foot. They're not as good when you're on the back foot, certainly, and that's what happens a lot in this meta. But a lot of the rest of your deck is good when you're on the back foot. Cut down. Liliana can help you on the back foot if they have one creature. Graveyard Trespasser can help stabilize the board and eat away their graveyard. And Glissa was pretty good. Glissa is a card which it gives you a lot of fight in matchups where card advantage you needed to go long, or they have important enchantments you need to kill, which you need to do so before an Invoke Despair would go down. And it's also a Lightning Rod for removal spell too. I mean, this is a really good card. And now you have a Glissa that's, lightning rod for removal spell. You have Shelter that's a lightning rod for removal spell. An Obliterator that's lightning rod for removal spell. If you have to use, removal spells on Glissa, maybe that means your Phyrexian Obliterator is living more. So I think that's a lot of the main value that Glissa will provide in this deck. You do have a lot of 3/3s, so lightning strikes can get you pretty early, but at least in the Trespassers case, you'll have to discard a card to do it as well. But yeah, this deck definitely has a place in the meta. I think you can get your opponent with the Obliterator Bushwhack fight combo. Obliterators are just fantastic in any straight up creature matchups, like like a Brutal Cathar. It'd be fantastic in that matchup, especially if you have a cut down to get rid of the Brutal Cathar after your Obliterator, an instant speed, and then you block, and they sacrifice a lot of permanents. So I'm trying to say it's really good against like soldiers, as long as they can't fly over the top of you with a Harbin, and just completely avoid the Phyrexian Obliterator in the first place. But that's why you have cut downs and Liliana to try to trim down their creatures, Bushwhacks to fight, trim down their creature base in general. So that's sort of the main upside of including some of these cards. I think it's a deck that you could play on the ladder. I would not expect to win that much more than you lose, maybe 54% win rate. It's not a deck that I would say you jam on the ladder and you just, in a couple days, you're zooming up. That's your goal. It's a deck that's a lot of fun. You some interesting play patterns to it. You have to make, I think, the right decisions most of the time in the games to get anywhere, which it's fun to play a deck like that. But yeah, if you like this deck, you'll probably like the last deck featured on the standard in this channel, so it's on your screen right now. And I would love to play your deck, so please submit your deck. There's a Google Forms in the description in the video you're currently watching, so please submit your deck, and I would love to feature it on the channel. And until next time, wherever you are, whenever you are, have a magical day.